A sheet of rusty zinc tore loose and slammed into the wall. Rainwater burst through the hostel roof, and the room filled with a raw smell of wet cement. Screams, splinters, the slap of water on tin, everything came at once. I groped for the small satellite phone I'd hidden in a shoebox, the only real link I had to power. And in that deafening chaos, I understood something cold and absolute. The game Nathan and I had started for fun had become life or death. 2 months earlier, the night had been calm on a Lagos pier. Nathan and I leaned over the rail, the city lights skittering on the water. I could feel the pulse of the shipping company in my chest, even when I tried not to. We were supposed to be testing ourselves. "Let's test ourselves," I said quietly. 6 months living poor. Nathan grinned. "We share one tiny room in Yaba. Day jobs only. No credit cards, no fancy phones. First man to quit pays $50 million to charity," I said. "Deal." We shook hands under the pier light. Behind a stack of cargo boxes, Phoebe, Nathan's sister-in-law, hid a phone and filmed the handshake, a sly smile on her face. I remember thinking then that the wager felt harmless. The clench of challenge, the novelty of stripping away privilege. I did not imagine how tight the lesson would be. The next afternoon, we checked into Freedom Hostel. The hallway smelled of kerosene and sweat. Our room held 2 bunk beds, a cracked window, and one bare bulb that blinked like a dying firefly. I found work at Apapa Wharf, hauling heavy sacks onto trucks. 11-hour days left my palms raw. My pay was $3s and $500. Nathan sold SIM cards on a busy corner. He came home one night with $900, 2 bottled waters, and $600 pocket change. The math sat heavy in my throat. That first week, we sat on the lower bunk, counting small coins like they were fortunes. "Back home, I tip more than this," Nathan said with a tired laugh. "Back home, we never felt it." "Now we will," I said, rubbing my sore back. The bulb flickered and then died, leaving us in hot quiet with only the traffic outside. We lay there hungry and uncertain, not yet knowing that every step would be watched and tested. My second month at Freedom Hostel was the hardest. My back ached from the sacks, and my cash vanished faster than I expected. By the 9th night of that week, I had only $700 left, enough for 2 plates of roadside noodles and 1 bottle of water. The noodle cart on the noisy market corner was lit by a single kerosene lamp that hissed. I ordered the 350 size, no egg. Sweat ran down my neck as I waited. Someone behind me spoke in a tired, careful voice. "Extra pepper, please. Keeps me awake on the bus." I stepped aside and saw her. A young woman in light blue scrubs, a stethoscope slung from her pocket. Her name badge said R. Brooks, intern. Dark rings pooled under her eyes. The seller plated 2 portions. A passerby nudged the cart, and hot pepper sauce sloshed across my cheap shirt. "Ow, hot!" I hissed. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," she cried, dropping her own meal and patting at my chest with a tissue. She smeared red oil all over me. I half laughed and half grimaced. "It's fine. Adds flavor to my wardrobe," I muttered. "Let me pay for a new shirt," she insisted. "A new shirt costs more than 6 plates of these noodles," I said. "Don't worry." I offered my last clean napkin. She offered her still-wrapped spoon. We sat on the same bench beneath a flickering street lamp and slurped noodles from tin plates. Diesel smoke drifted. Horns blared. Between bites, we spoke. "Long day at the hospital?" I asked. 14 hours. 2 births, 1 fracture, 0 lunch. She said dryly, but warmth lurked behind it. When she finished, she pulled a battered copy of Things Fall Apart from her bag. "I reread a few pages on the bus so I don't fall asleep standing," she told me. "You read Achebe?" I said, bright. "Good line about living, fire, begetting cold children." "Books are my true luxury," I admitted. She laughed when she saw the pepper stain on my chest. "Tonight, fire met pepper," she said. We laughed together. The tightness in my shoulders eased for the first time that week. When rain began to mist the air, she stood. "Bus leaves in 5 minutes. I can lend you the book. Trade me any book tomorrow night. Same time?" she asked. "Deal," I said. She scribbled Renee on a receipt and slipped it between the pages. I watched her board the old coaster bus, head leaning against the glass, and felt a small, sharp joy that had nothing to do with money. Back at the hostel, Nathan raised an eyebrow at my pepper-marked shirt. "Did the noodles fight back, or was it love at first spill?" he teased. "A bit of both," I said, grinning. That night, I dug through the hostel's free shelf and found a battered high school copy of Animal Farm. I wiped dust from the cover and tucked it into my bag for the trade. Renee arrived late the next night, hair damp and eyes half closed. I handed her the book and watched her smile, wide and honest. "Orwell and cheap noodles? Best medicine after double night duty," she said. We traded thoughts over chapters and tins of Gary. Night 3, we shared one bottle of water. Night 4, she fell asleep mid-sentence, cheek on the plastic table, and I sat guarding her bag until her bus arrived. The noodle seller began setting 2 benches side by side, expecting us. Staff joked at the hostel, "Logan's doctor brings dinner reading." Nathan helped me scour street stalls for cheap used books. Our corner of the hostel became a tiny, battered library. By the 6th week, Renee and I could guess each other's moods with one glance. A sigh meant a rough shift. A raised eyebrow meant a cliffhanger in the book. We laughed when rain soaked us. We laughed when the noodles ran out. Laughter cost nothing. For a little while, I almost forgot the wager with Nathan, until rent came due again. Back in Ikoyi, my mother Evelyn Price sat in a marble office reviewing shipping contracts. Her son's phone had sent only short texts. Fine, working. No weekend visits. No card charges. Something tightened inside her. Evelyn believed in solving problems firsthand. She ordered the driver to drop her a couple of streets from Freedom Hostel. She dressed down in old wrappers, tucked a scarf over her hair, and carried a plastic basin of laundry. Inside the Freedom Courtyard, kids kicked a flat ball. A woman argued about shared gas. When she told the caretaker she could wash for a small fee, he pointed to our room. "Room 9 needs help. Boys never wash socks," he said. Room 9. My heart did a stupid little flip, though. I tried to hide it. She thanked the man and climbed the concrete stairs. The door was open. I sat on the lower bunk, reading half of a yellow sun under the dull bulb. I didn't look up until her throat cleared. There she was, a laundry woman with a basin. "I wash clothes for a small fee," she said in a disguised voice. "Maybe next week, Ma," I smiled politely. She watched me, my thin arms, blistered palms, and something like a mother's ache tightened her face. She left the room before I could see her fully. In the hallway, she noticed the token meter blinking red and waited. Minutes later, Renee knocked, exhausted and still in scrubs. "You forgot to top up again," she said. "Payday is tomorrow," I mumbled. "I got it," she said and dropped to 1,000 into the meter. I opened my mouth to protest. She put a finger to my lips. "When you're a rich doctor, you can pay me back," she teased. From the stairwell, Evelyn watched every word. The next morning, Evelyn returned with washed sheets and shirts. She knocked and I counted out 300, half my day's food money, and thanked her. "You iron better than dry cleaners," I said. "I learned from my mother," she answered with a softness that surprised me. She left quickly, afraid I might recognize her. Outside, she sat on a low wall, mind spinning. My sun was thin, but had this strange brightness. The girl gave even when she had little. Something in Evelyn decided that this experiment might be teaching things money hid. She told the driver to keep the car nearby. For 3 days, she watched me from a distance. She saw me share Gary with Nathan and kids. She watched me fix an old woman's handcart for free and walk Renee to the bus, carrying her heavy textbooks. On the 4th evening, she saw Nathan counting coins for rent, while I was short sear at 200. She slipped a note under our door. "Laundry discount today. Pay what you can." Nathan and I packed our dirty clothes happily. She washed through the night, tears in the rinse water. I later met her on the corner, and when she removed her scarf, I froze. "Mom," I said, "before you speak, hug me. I've missed you," she told me. I hugged her, the smell of detergent on her undercover clothes. She pressed a small envelope into my hand. "Emergency funds only, no bragging, and no more fake pills, understand?" she said. "Understood, Mom," I said, voice small and raw. We parted before dawn. I walked back with bread and a strange lump of hope. I had 2 hidden wallets now, one of secret wealth and one of hard-earned understanding. Both would matter. The July sun beat down on Yaba, heat rising from cracked tar. On the hostel floor, I sat back against the bunk while Renee knelt over anatomy notes by candlelight. Nipa had cut power again. "I keep mixing the ulna and radius," she said, rubbing her eyes. "Think of holding a radio," I told her. "Radius, thumb side." She laughed and jotted it down, surprised. Dinner was a cup of Gary and groundnut, 3 spoons each. Nathan returned with 2 small boiled corn, payment for tutoring kids under the mango tree. He taught fractions with broken biscuits. We did small things. I helped the caretaker repair a leaking pipe. Nathan fetched water for an elderly tenant. Renee dressed a vendor's cut finger with her last gauze. None of these acts paid cash, but each kind gesture felt like building a new house out of honest bricks. When it rained, everyone gathered at the stairwell. Someone tapped a bucket and we sang off-key. Renee leaned against the wall, watching me glow in candlelight. Later, on the bunk, I whispered to Nathan, "I don't miss home tonight." "Me neither," he said, smiling soft. Days slipped by. I started waking before dawn to jog with Renee to the hospital gate, then off to the wharf. My co-workers at Apapa teased me about the doctor lady, but I stood straighter than I ever had in a boardroom. Nathan's sim sales improved. Kids waited for his evening lessons. Sunday nights, we turned the hostel roof into a tiny library. Grey's Anatomy by torchlight, shipping tales for medical trivia, call center jokes for comic relief. The city lights winked. Our world shrank to that roof and those pages and cheap laughter. Sometimes my phone buzzed with bank alerts, interest piling on untouched accounts. I set it to silent and memorized the sting of real hunger, the honest ache of blisters, hoping it would guard me against soft living later. Across town, Phoebe Hart scrolled social feeds, liking her own life. Daughter of a minor politician and married into the Hart fortune, she had a taste for power and pearls, and she hated unpredictability. A private investigator delivered photos. Nathan selling Sims, me in dirty overalls, me laughing with a young nurse. Phoebe smirked and called Mr. Ikoyi, the hostel owner, deep in small-time debts. "Ever need quick cash?" She purred. In minutes, $200,000 hit Okoye's wallet. He made the call. Renee finished a double night shift, exhausted, and returned to find her suitcase and box of books outside room 9. Ikoyi told her sponsor had disappeared and she owed 2 months' rent. Tears threatened, but she blinked them away. "Give me an hour to pack properly," she pleaded. 30 minutes, he shrugged. I was at the wharf, Nathan at the market. No one was there to argue. Renee zipped her bag and walked out head high, past neighbors who liked her but feared Okoye's temper. Rain started cold. She hailed a keke and moved to the nurse's dorm, 8 beds and 1 fan. She did not cry until the lights went out. Then she pressed a pillow over her face and let the tears come. I returned that evening soaked and smiling with a new joke. The hallway met me like a stone. Ikoyi blocked the door. "Doctor girl gone. No more charity. Pay full rent or pack out next month," he said. She had gone. My smile vanished. "She was not my charity," I said. "Where is she?" He shrugged. Nathan and I spent hours in the downpour searching bus stops and stalls. At dawn, I left a note at the nurse's dorm. "I'm sorry. Let me explain. Logan." She read it quietly and tucked it into her book without replying. In room 9, I sat with my head in my hands. Someone had done this on purpose. Nathan muttered one name. "Phoebe," he said. He showed me a photo. Her new bracelet bought the exact day Renee was evicted. My jaw clenched. "She hurt Renee to break me," I said. "She wins if we go home." "Then we stay," Nathan said. But we hit back with truth, not lies. Night fell, and the storm crept closer. We maneuvered buckets beneath leaks and moved beds toward the center of the room. By midnight, the storm had claws. A roof panel ripped free and slammed down the hallway, screams stinging the air. Rain poured through a gaping hole, and lightning licked at dangling wires. "Everyone downstairs! Now!" I shouted, instinct from a life of safety drills on my father's ships taking over. I grabbed a flashlight and barked orders. "Form a line! Hold hands! Move!" Nathan guided an elderly man. A mother carried a crying baby wrapped in plastic. Someone slipped, and I hauled them up. Part of the ceiling sagged and timber snapped. A sheet of zinc crashed onto 2 bunks, missing a child by inches. Panic rose like floodwater. My hand found the satellite phone in the shoebox. If I used it, the pact would be finished for good. But roofs were collapsing, and people could die. I dialed WestBlue emergency response and waited. A calm voice answered, "Operations Center. Go ahead. This is Logan Price. Freedom Hostel, Yaba. Roof collapse, dozens displaced. I need cranes that floodlights, tarps, medkits, ETA 2 hours or less." "Copy. GPS locked. Convoy moving now, sir," the operator replied. Relief hammered through me. I ended the call and returned to the hall, shouting simpler directions. "Cover that gap! Set up lights here. Move children to the stair landing. People obeyed because there was no time to ask who I was. Nathan wrapped his jacket around a shivering boy. Through shattered windows, we watched gutters overflow and plastic bottles sail off like little boats. At 2:45 a.m., the first engines growled in the rain. Blue strobes cut through darkness. 10-wheel trucks, cranes, generators, and a flatbed loaded with plywood rolled up. Workers in orange vests jumped down. "Mr. Price, instructions?" Their foreman barked, shouting through the rain. The name shot through a stunned silence. Faces turned wet and betrayed. "Mr. Price? He's rich?" Someone whispered. "All this time?" Another hissed. "He lied to us." I felt the sting like a lash, but there was no time for shame. Workers climbed ladders and bolted fresh sheets. Generators hummed. Floodlights painted the courtyard white. By dawn, the immediate danger was over. A new storm of questions was beginning. Gray morning light revealed ruined furniture and soaked mattresses. Social media freelancers arrived with shaky footage. A blogger went live. "Billionaire heirs playing poor? See exclusive." Hashtags germinated before breakfast. Renee woke in the nurse's dorm after a scant 2 hours of sleep and saw the footage. Me directing cranes, wearing wet jeans and boots, workers calling me sir. Her chest tightened. At the hostel, I climbed onto a wooden crate while cameras zoomed. Nathan stood beside me, soaked and silent. "My name is Logan Price," I said loud enough to cut through the drizzle. "Nathan, Hart, and I made a foolish pact to understand life without money. We lied to you. I'm sorry." The sound of my voice felt small and loud at once. "A lie can't be fixed with words," I continued. "So here's action. Every tenant here will live rent-free until this building is safe. After that, my company will rebuild it into proper flats with fair rent. Nathan's telecom fund will install free Wi-Fi. You will own part of this property so no landlord can push you out again." Nathan raised a hand. "Also, school fees for the kids I tutor covered. That's on me." A few tepid cheers started and then fell quiet. Trust does not rise as fast as sunlight. In the back row, I saw Renee, scrubs sodden and arms folded. Her eyes caught mine. I stepped down and walked toward her. People parted like water around a rock. "I wanted to tell you sooner," I said, voice small. "Scared of losing me or your game?" She shot back. "Both," I said, and my voice cracked. "You couldn't trust me with your name," she said. I had no defense. "Give me a chance to earn it," I begged. She said nothing, turned, and walked away. Cameras caught the moment. Headlines read, "Nurse walks out on Billionaire." Every new notification landed like another slap. While I wrestled with shame, Nathan drove to Ikoyi and burst into Phoebe's marble living room. "You paid the hostel to evict Renee," he said flat. "Evidence?" She shrugged. He held his phone like proof. "Owner recorded the payment. Voice note. Your number." She sipped coffee like poison. "You boys needed a wake-up," she said. "You got one." "People could have died when the roof fell. You nearly killed them to win money," Nathan said. "Collateral damage," she said, like someone stating a fact. "Logan and I will rebuild that place. Your power games end here," Nathan promised. "Careful," she said, smiling thin. "Remember who handles family trustees." He called the family lawyer as he left. "Emergency board meeting. Review Phoebe's finance rights." The lawyer agreed. Whispers were already moving through shareholders. Back in Yaba, some tenants softened when they saw carpenters fix beams and medics treat cuts paid for by me. Others packed slowly, muttering, "Rich people play, poor people pay." Each bag dragged past me felt like another brick of guilt I had to carry. Nathan told me about Phoebe. "She won't stop, but board support is shifting," he said. "Focus on getting Renee back." I tried calling her. No answer. I texted, "I'm at the noodles stall tonight. Please." No reply. At the hospital, Renee's colleagues argued. "He lied, yes," Nurse Joy said. "But look at what he's doing now. Money fixes roofs, not trust," Nurse Tunde replied. Renee said little. Inside her, anger warred with a memory of me sharing a napkin and guarding her sleep. Was that all an act? She asked herself. The noodles stall drew me like gravity. I sat alone with 2 plates waiting and watched her pass. She did not stop. Wind carried my quiet sigh. Blogs ran polls. Forgive the billionaire? Radio hosts debated whether the rich could ever truly understand poverty. Kids. Nathan taught practiced fractions on donated boards that smelled of fresh paint. Women in damp rooms wondered if rent-free months might be real or just another headline. I paid workers double rates, insisted on local hires. wrote apology letters by hand and slipped them under doors. Some were torn, some tucked away. I lay on the skeleton of the rebuilt roof at night and thought of Renee's silence. Nathan sat with me, sharing roasted corn. "Reputation is glass," he said, quoting his father. "Break it once, lines remain." "Then I'll fill the cracks with gold," I said. "Good luck, Kintsugi millionaire," he laughed. 2 weeks later, Freedom Hostel had been reduced to beams and tarps. Reporters, bloggers, half of Yaba crowded the lot. I stood on a plank platform in a simple polo and jeans while Nathan held blueprints. A banner unfurled, "Freedom Flats. Built by us, owned by you." I took the mic, voice shaking at first. "We lied about who we were. We can't undo that. What we can do is build something better with truth." I pointed at the muddy ground. "This land will become 80 safe flats. Solid roofs, good toilets, solar lights. Rent half the market rate. No one can raise it without tenant votes." Nathan unrolled the plan. 2 L-shaped blocks around a courtyard garden. "Hart Telecom will install free Wi-Fi for every room, plus a computer hub for kids' homework," he said. A teenage girl shouted, "Wi-Fi really free?" "0 naira, 0 kobo," Nathan grinned. I waved a folder of legal papers. "We've opened a cooperative account. Each current tenant gets equal ownership shares. Sign-up starts today. Lawyers are here to explain in plain English." The caretaker's eyes filled with tears. A man in muddy overalls yelled, "Talk is cheap, rich man. You need proof. So here it is," I said. 3 flatbed trucks rolled in with cement blocks, rebar, and timber. Workers jumped down and greeted tenants they had rescued. A table with envelopes and inventory forms sat beneath a tarp. Some skeptical faces softened. My eyes found Renee. I stepped off the platform and walked to her through the mud. "You told me patience trust actions?" I said quietly. "I hope mine speak loud." "Actions are talking. I'm listening," she said, without a smile but without the hard line she had worn. Nathan dialed Phoebe on speaker and said, "Board voted this morning. Your finance rights are frozen pending audit." "You'll regret crossing me," she cracked. "Maybe, but kids will have roofs. Worth it," he said. That afternoon, tenants queued to sign cooperative papers. I joined carpenters stacking blocks, sweat soaking my shirt. An old woman handed me a tin cup of Gary. "Eat, my son. Work strong," she said. "Thank you, Mama," I answered. Renee watched me shovel gravel beside laborers, and I felt something honest warm the back of my throat. At dusk, she came to wash my hands with a water drum. "Blisters again?" she asked. "Honest ones this time," I said. "Let's clean them. Infection is costly," she replied, pulling gauze from her pocket kit. Our eyes met, and something fragile and hopeful flickered between us. 3 months later, Freedom Flats stood with cream walls catching the morning sun. Kids raced down new hallways. Tenants painted door numbers in bright colors. Wi-Fi bars glowed full. Opening day dawned with a small crowd. Evelyn arrived with an envelope for Renee. "Full scholarship for your surgical residency," she said. "You gave when you had little. Let us give now." Renee's eyes filled. "I don't know how to thank you." "Save lives." "That's thanks enough," Evelyn said, soft. Nathan cut the ribbon. Cameras clicked as I wiped away tears that were not all shame. I climbed the wide stairwell with Renee to the rooftop garden where recycled timber formed benches and planter boxes. Tomatoes climbed twine and purple flowers dotted the edges. A carved wooden beam near the railing marked the noodle stall seat where we first met. "This garden is our chapter 2, I told her. "Wood from the past, seeds for the future." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small ring carved from the same beam. No diamonds, only the grain of our old hostel roof, sanded smooth and varnished. I knelt. "Renee Brooks, will you marry me? Rich, poor, hungry, full. Truth only," I asked. Tears slid down her cheeks, and she laughed. The sound light. "Yes," she said, "but only if you promise noodles once a week." "Cross my heart," I said, and slid the ring on her finger. Tenants who had gathered below guessed the moment and cheered. Nathan whooped from a balcony, live streaming. Evelyn dabbed a handkerchief at her eyes. The sun rose over Lagos Lagoon, gold on water and flats, and 2 people who had traded hidden wallets for open hearts. Downstairs, a banner fluttered on the new gate. "Where trust lives, wealth follows." For the first time in a long while, I believed we had earned those words.